to and this might be, I don't know if this is a loaded question or not, but say if there's a young lady and she has, and let's say doesn't even have to be a young lady. Say there's a young girl and a young guy, either or, and they live in an abusive home,
Mm-hmm.
and they also have an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two closest relationships they have because they're not school age, so they're not going to school.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's at home life, maybe a job of some sort, and then the other significant other, rather it's a girl, guy, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the first advice that you would give to somebody that is going through that? Because I know some people that have those types of situations, and it just seems like there's nowhere where to turn because both of your what are supposed to be support systems are just as harmful to you in either mentally, physically, or both.
Yes. Yes. And this is a very common situation, unfortunately. Now, fortunately, there are a lot of support groups online, domestic violence, abuse. There are a lot of organizations that have 800 numbers. There are places you can go online. There are a lot of Facebook groups. There are a lot of Instagram groups that help. But personally, in addition to seeking help outside, which we really have to do, is to work on your self-love, because none of this means that you're not worthy. You are worthy. You're worthy of respect and dignity, and you're worthy of love. And just because someone doesn't love you doesn't mean that you're not lovable. The best thing that we can do in our lives is learn how to love ourselves. Because
Amen.
love ourselves. That's it. That's the key.
1 second. Keith Gregory and Mark Goff. What's up, fellas? Thank you guys for stopping by. We have the privilege of having Dr. Nora Fahlberg with us, author, activist, life coach. She's the greatest. And I'm sorry, did I miss something? Oh, okay. And yeah, so we have several people that keep on tuning in and out. Mark Goff is actually he was one of the vocal coaches for the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all these folks. So thank you, brother, for stopping by. And everybody else who I haven't gotten to see because we had some technical difficulties with things going on and off for a minute. But again, this is Food for Action. Episode 29, which is really neat because I never even thought there was going to be an episode 1. And hopefully this is helping people. And remember that I have thrown myself out there completely. You all have access to my phone number. You have access to the only thing you don't have is my address. That would be scary. But other than that, you guys have about everything except my social security card, a number, and my address. And I encourage you to talk to me if you feel I'm the appropriate person. Talk to a person like Dr. Nora if you feel she's the appropriate person. But talk to somebody if you're hurting. Talk to somebody if you're trying to, or wanting to help. If you want to be a person that wants to help other people, you got to talk to other people. You got to network. You got to make it happen. Listen, this is a very crucial time in the country. I'm going to give it to you 2 ways. And Dr. Nora, I'm not trying to take over, but I have to do this.
You go for it, baby.
I'm going to say something that's crucial because there are several unsurmountable or insurmountable looking things that are happening right now at the same time. There's a pandemic. There is racial injustice. There is such just human division besides racial division. There is political struggles going on. There is so much that is going on. There's abuses physically and mentally going on. There's all these things. There are weather acts of people would say God. I don't know yet if God is doing it yet, but because God just say he'll, there are going to be some storms and such. But I don't know if that's what these ones are. So there's weather. There's things that are happening. There's a lot of destruction going on, humanly or inhumanely, and also with nature. And so while all these things are happening, it is important. It is imperative that we learn how to love, that we learn how to share, and that we learn how to fight together. It is pointless for me to do this and for Dr. Nora to do what she does and any of the other people that I've introduced you to do what they do if you're not going to do it too. That doesn't mean you have to do it the same way I do it, but you have to be part of it. The old adage, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. That is 100 zillion% correct. There is no such thing as straddling a fence. There is no such thing as being okay with, I didn't do it, so whatever. It's not. There's no such thing as sitting by the wayside until you feel something tingle in your body, because it ain't going to happen. There's no such thing as not being part of the process. And there's no such thing as keeping it just to yourself and your direct, contact people either, because you can't possess a strength. You can't possess a thought pattern that is productive or proactive and then just keep it confined. Because when you do that, then you're stealing it from somebody else. You're stealing a progress. You're stealing a movement from other people. My parents told me at some point that I should have been a lawyer or a preacher. I'm neither of those, but I think I'm on the road to one of them. I'm not sure, but it's really important that we all become part of the process of productivity and proactivity, because if we don't do that, there are people that are hurting, and there are people that I believe God intends for maybe only you. That means whoever you is, only you and your words at an exact time, at an exact moment. Your words are going to make a difference in that person's life who is hurting. And if you remain silent, that person remains hurting. Dr. Norton.
Man. Obi, you are a thought leader and an activist. And this is what we need now. And we need leaders. We need people to help everybody organize.
Yep.
There's something for everyone can do. Even if you can't get out and protest, do stuff, you can be calling your state representing, your Congress representative. You can be making the calls, because all of that matters. You can be sending emails. All of this matters. There's something for everything, for everyone to do. And, and we can all be activists. We all have to be activists.
That's right. Listen, very valuable what you just said. And you touched on it earlier too. I don't want anybody that I know to just vote.
No.
I want you to vote with a purpose. If you don't vote with a purpose, if you don't vote with a request, if you don't vote with a demand, if you don't vote with something attached to it, that means that there is a condition. I have preconditions to my vote, and I'm going to I have to climb the ladder, because maybe I can't get to Biden himself, or I can't get to Kamala herself, but maybe the alderman and the city councilman and the mayor and the House seat this and the House representative that and the state Senate this can get to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And you might have to climb that ladder to do it. And you might have to speak through them to show what you're requesting. But if you just vote pointlessly, if you just go in there and just spin around and put a blindfold on and hit a button, you failed. You failed, because that's the cycle that we've been on. Republican or Democrat. It only matters if it has substance to it. Obviously, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Me and probably most of the people that I know want to see that guy that's sitting in the thing now. We want to see him out of there. But still, I'm demanding stuff from the people that I'm voting for, because they have to answer to us. We're paying their salaries. If we don't demand stuff from them, just like we demand things from the police department, just like we demand things from our schools and our hospital health systems, and just like we do that, we have to do the same thing to the people we vote for. It's not just we're going to give it to you. No, because that's what's been happening. Look, the closest person of recent times. Thank you for that love that you're showing on. I have my phone sitting next to me, and people are throwing up hearts and stuff. But it's been going on since I was a kid and before. Is that people just vote a party without anything connected to it, just because they don't want to see somebody else sitting there. How does that make sense? How would you do that? Like, I don't want anybody to come to me for a service to write a song, but I don't know nothing about them. I'm just going to write a song I like. Well, what does that do for that person? It does nothing. Maybe it's a good song, but it doesn't represent the person. That's why we tailor make and produce things that fit a specific artist. Well, we have to do the same thing in politics. We have to do the same thing in all aspects of life. We have to make sure, and that's what I know. That's what Dr. Nora does, because she just said it. If if she doesn't feel that your life and the things that she does coincide, she'll give you the resources to the people or the things that can address your situations, which is the same thing that I do. That's what anybody who is loving on people does. But it has to be, you have to be adamant about that being the same way you approach the election. It's got to be that way.
And from a political point of view, we can't just wake up and vote. We didn't wake up and vote last time, and look at what we got now. And you can't just go back to sleep and forget about it. You got to hold their feet to the fire.
That's right. Accountability. That's right.
Even if it's just the dog catcher. And then you've got to hold their feet to the fire. And that means making calls and sending emails. And come on, that doesn't take that much effort. We can do it.
Most people are attached to their phones anyways, texting and emailing 49 times a day.
Like glued to my palm anyway. I can just call my representative and go, hey, I want you to support this bill. Or, hey, I don't want you to support this bill.
That's right.
You got to stay woke.
Yep. You guys,
for one day isn't enough.
You guys are listening to Dr. Nora. You're looking at Dr. Nora Fahlberg. She's awesome. You guys got to get her book. You guys got to... once life gets back to normal, you guys got to go to a seminar, or if you're a business owner, you got to try to invite her to host her for a seminar, host her to come to your church, host her to come to your civic organization, host her to come and speak to your Girl Scouts or your whatever you are attached to, and that those children or those young people or those adults need extra encouragement from somewhere, and you can't give it to them. Here is a source right here. Dr. Nora Fahlberg can do it for you. She can help you do this, and if she can't, she's going to give you to the person who does, and that's what loving folk do. Listen, I'm going to have to let her go. But Dr. Nora, thank you so much for spending this time and the extra 12 minutes, 57 seconds with us as well. And please take care of yourself. Stay in touch. Please, one more time before we let you go, please tell the folks your website addresses. And I'm going to have them posted, but I want you to please tell them again and tell them the name of your book and where they can get that as well.
My website is Dr. Nora Fahlberg. It's FAHLBERG. My YouTube channel is the same, and my Instagram is the same. I really need a shorter name, but for not right now, that's where I am. And Facebook, it's Finding Your Inner Warrior, which is the name of my book. And OB, you can put up my email, because go ahead and contact me. Come on, let's do this, people.
Listen,
love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. You're awesome. You're lovely. You're awesome. You're strong, courageous, loving. I hope that we maintain a friendship for years to come, and we have you back when maybe when I'm on Nationwide or something. We'll do it again.
Let's be allies. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Ciao.
All right. Bye bye. Yeah. So guys, that was so awesome, man. We don't get to do this kind of stuff without this networking thing that we're able to do. I used to not have anything to do with very much media, social media and stuff. I would post when I did a show, or I would post when I did, had something musical going on, or something with my family or my daughter or whatever, my smunchkin. And now, unfortunately, because of the times we're in, it's time to, obviously, like I said, after the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery murders, it caught my heart after all these years of experiencing this stuff, and so here we are using a platform that I never wanted to embrace, and it's a blessing to be able to touch lives, to reach lives through this media platform. Let me see. So before I go, Lori write books. Lori, hi. Danny, hi. Man, it's weird. I can't see people until way after the fact. I don't know if it's because I'm live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time with this Be Live program. But thank you, everybody. If I didn't see you, thank you for stopping by. We had Dr. NORA FAHLBERG on with us. That's you can find her at doctor. That's DR period. DR without the period. I think I can't remember. I'll post it up. But FAHLBERG, Dr. FAHLBERG. She's awesome. She does amazing thing for young ladies. Girls, women, and also men too. Anybody who needs some help finding some strength and needs some help to fight back if they're in abusive or in harmful relationships, rather it's at home or boyfriends or work or whatever. She has some awesome tools to help you guys address those types of things. And she also is standing with us in this fight against racism, which is what we need. We need all our white brothers and sisters to join in and help us continue this fight until racism, systemic racism and the like exist no more. Before I go, I definitely have to read to you guys, and so I won't be able to see your comments for a minute, because I have to pull this up on my phone. But I want to read to you about another life that we lost. And as I told you in each, by the way, hope you liked my Trump-lamatics. I'm going to continue doing those. Maybe not every day, but I'll continue. So far, I've done 20 Trump-lamatics, which are things that are associated with that guy in the seat, in the place. And hopefully you're seeing them and you're Googling them to double check so you can see that these things have been part of him, and you understand how hurtful that is, harmful that is to the country. Let me bring up the unfortunate Black life that we lost. You can find this information on Stories for Justice on Instagram. So please go by Stories for Justice on Instagram, and you will find this story and similar. Tonight we're going to talk about Alton Sterling, and you may have heard of him as well. But this is a young man who was from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and on July 5th, 2016, Alton Sterling. He was known as a CD man, as he routinely sold homemade CDs in front of a convenience store, Triple S Food Mart. The store owner, Abdullah Maflahi, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, said Sterling had been a welcome presence at the store's parking lot for years. So he'd always been there selling these CDs. And the police were called on Sterling for reportedly threatening a man with his gun. The store owner said that Sterling was not the one causing trouble during the situation that led to the police being called. Baton Rouge police officers Howie Lake II and Blaine Solomoni were the responders. 2 graphic cell phone videos were captured of Sterling's last moments. The officers tasered Sterling for resisting, then forced him to the hood of a sedan and then to the ground to restrain him. The officer said, "He's got a gun." An officer then shouts, prompting his partner to pull out his gun. "Hey, bro, you effing move. I swear to God," the other officer says, now pointing his gun down at Sterling. 1 second later, 2 shots were fired. Then, before at least 2 more shots are fired, an officer is heard yelling, "Get on the ground," despite Sterling already being pinned down. Sterling's gun remained in his pocket during the whole entire altercation. In other words, they never saw a gun, and this was on the cell phone videotapes. Sterling died of multiple gunshot wounds to the chest and back, according to the local coroner. His death was ruled a homicide. No charges have ever been filed against the officers who said they believed Sterling was reaching for his gun. Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry said the officers' actions were well-rounded and reasonable. Alton Sterling was 37. He was a father to 5 children, the oldest who was only 15 when he died. Sterling had been living at the Living Waters Outreach Ministries transitional shelter before he died, residents there said. They recalled him as a friendly man who stayed clean, cooked for his friends, and sometimes would offer up the music he sold free of charge. I never saw him coming in here with a weapon, and I never saw him drunk, resident Calvin Wilson said. He was nice, he was respectable, said Darren Gardner, a friend and a customer. So, as many of the other lives that I have focused on or brought to people's attention who didn't know before, that is another life that didn't have to be lost. It is another life that didn't have to end. And I don't know what kind of training, but there are, as I pointed out, there are elements in most American police departments. How do I say it again? It's not all of the police. I'm not incriminating every police officer. What I am doing is I am speaking to you about an element within police departments. And there is an existing element within police departments that unfortunately have something else on their minds when they're joining the department, or maybe they have other biases or other prejudices or bigotry thing within whatever hateful things they have. It's causing them to do harm disproportionately to Black and brown lives and at an alarming rate. And it's not something that just started since the pandemic. It's not something that just happened once in the 80s and then never happened again until Ahmaud Arbery or George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. It's not something like that. It is something that has been going on almost on a daily basis in some city or town in the United States of America. Every day. There is not one day when an abuse of power by an element of a police department somewhere hasn't occurred. There's not one day. Now you're being enlightened and being quote unquote woke because now there's cell phones catching it all the time, because nobody can stop somebody from filming it with their cell phones. Thank you, folks who are joining in. Please say hi when you're here. I see you sneaking in and out, but thank you for tuning in. And if you're tuning in later, thank you for that as well. But this is not something that's new. It's not new. It's not a brand new thing that just popped up out of nowhere that a couple of racial incidents happened. That's not what it is. This is a way of life, unfortunately. This is an all the time, everyday occurrence. This is part of the fabric of this country, is that we know that when we wake up every day, we have to be on the lookout, because we don't know if it's going to be the protect and serve police that show up or if it's going to be the abuse and die police that show up. We don't know which one it's going to be. We don't know that. Look, when I was driving, I can't now because of my chronic Lyme thing, but when I was driving, I would walk around the car, check the lights, check the windows, check everything, make sure there's nothing wrong, no extra smoke, no flat tire, just nothing. I had to do that every time I got in my car. Did you? Do you see? Do you have to warn your children, your young children, to make sure they don't play cops and robbers outside with a gun because they might be mistaken for carrying a real gun and get shot to death by a police? Do you have to worry about that? So there's a slant, there's a demented side, a part of this country and the frame of mind that it's so distorted, and we Black people are suffering because of that. And when you add that to the fact that we're underserved, undermanned, under monetized, everything under, you know, we don't have equal access to education, healthcare, etc. And because of that, all of those things, it's almost like everything's stacked against us. I'm not saying that we can't get out. I'm not saying that we can't make it. What I'm saying is that we don't have equal access and equal freedom, that thing that is supposed to be covered by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. We don't have that. We don't have all men are created equal, that they are endowed by certain unalienable rights. We don't have that. That to us, since I was a kid, is just on a piece of paper in a book somewhere. And this is something that my white brothers and sisters, you have to acknowledge, and you have to understand, and you have to face. And then you have to then help us fight against that, because we should be able to say we the people and believe that we're included in that. We should be able to say one nation under God, indivisible, and justice for liberty and justice for all, and be included in that all. When we say all lives matter and you guys fight about it, look, you guys should be just as angry as us that we have to say it. You guys should be angry at the people who make us have to say that, not angry at us for saying it. If you love me, if you're my friend, you should be angry that I'm upset by it, that I'm hurt by the fact that we have to talk about this. You should be angry and frustrated with me and help me fight against the fact that I have to sit here and talk to people about racism and systemic racism in America twice a week, on Wednesday and Sunday from starting at 7 o'clock or a little bit before. Do I appreciate the fact that people are watching and listening? Absolutely. Do I appreciate the fact that people are sending letters and messages and texts and calls? And yes, I do. But it should be able to happen where, because look, when I was thinking about doing something on video, you can check with my little brother. We were talking about doing some music online. You can ask one of the guys who I played music with, Chad Schneider, cool brother. That's one of my cool white brothers. And I was trying to get ready to do some music online. But after all these things started creeping up again and again and again, then it turned into me talking to you about how we can get my white brothers and sisters involved in the fight to help Black people not have to face the kind of America that we face today. You know, I don't know how you guys feel. Maybe some of the things that I'm saying are helpful to you and so on, but I don't want to, like, I don't want us or anybody who is an activist or we shouldn't have to do this. We're begging and pleading for your help so that we can change the systems and the way they function and the way that they don't allow for things to be equal. We're asking you to help us with that. And I have to say that, you know, I want to have, I want you guys to surprise me. And like one day I wake up and it's like, it's a Wednesday and I'm like, oh snap, what? There's a rule and a law against racism? Oh my goodness. What? We have access to the same education and the same technology and the same internet and the same health care and the same seats at the table in politics and in Fortune 500 companies and in owning sports teams and in the ownership of businesses, period, and in the same access to the same types of loans for small businesses or big businesses, the same access to, do you see what I'm saying? The same access to the same, because if this country is supposed to stand for liberty and justice for all, then that means all of us are supposed to have the same freedoms as everyone else. All of us are supposed to have the same access to all of the systems that exist, be it manufacturing, be it health, be it government, be it politics, be it law, whatever it is, we're supposed to have the same access because it's supposed to be equal for all. But if you look at everything that I just mentioned, if you look at everything economically, if you look at everything politically, you will find out that there are less of us that are at the table than there are of you. And let me say this. We understand that percentage-wise, per capita, that word that you hear a lot being floated around now, per capita, yes, it's going to be different because there's only 13% of Black and brown folk in America. That's all the population that we make up. So obviously it's going to be proportioned differently from that aspect. But right now, it's not even proportioned like that. And it's not that we're not attempting to get there. It's that we don't have the access. It's not available. And so I beg and plead with you guys to please do some studying, do some research, and when you find out that we don't possess the opportunity for 13% in every system in America because we don't have the access to 13% of everything, well, if you see that, you should be just as angry and sad and hurt as we are, as I am. Okay? Let's do that this week. Let's take this week, and when I meet you guys on Wednesday, let's have people talking to me about the research that they did that you did to understand that what I'm saying is not a joke. It's not a race card. It actually is the way that it is. And I challenge you, if you can show me, now let me be clear. I'm not talking about do we have an abundance of rappers and singers and actors or DJs. I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you that do we have the access to places of power in all systems that exist in this country? Do we now have that shift to where we are at least 13% of everything? Because if we're not at least that means that the doors have not been opened yet. Because it's not lack of trying. It's not lack of attempts. It's not lack of work, blood, sweat, tears, studying. It's not that. 13% of us, at least 13% of us have the same qualifications as white America does. At least 13%. So when we get to that point, then you can start to, you probably shouldn't, but if you wanted to talk about something, then if you wanted to have an argument to say, well, there's only 13% of you guys in America, and so you have 13% of this or that. Well, if you wanted to say that and let that be an argument, at least that might be something to talk about. Still ain't fair. Still's not right, because if we're qualified, even if it was 50% of us qualified, we should still have the same access. But if you wanted to do that, so do me a favor and tell me all of the systems that where we possess the power or equal power in this country, at least 13%. I'll wait for the emails. I'll wait for the messages. I'll wait for the texts. I'll wait for the messenger messages and whatever else. And when we do that, then we'll start a different version of the conversation. Okay? Listen, I love you all. that was food for thought, which should turn into food for action. If you need to reach me, you can. My phone number's up. My email's up. You can text. You can email. You can, talk in the stems or the streams or whatever the heck they're called. And but reach out to me. Let me know if I got something wrong here. Let me know what it is, and please provide some proof, because I'll study it. I do that all week. I study. When I get questions asked to me, I study. And I study a wide array of things to find out where the common thing is, to prove something to be, give something the benefit of the doubt of being right or wrong. Okay, so I don't come at this from a Democratic side. I don't come at this from a Republican side. I don't come at this from a moderate side. I come at this from a learned side. I read, I listen to other people who know more than me about a subject, and then I do my best to relay it to you, also providing you the same references and sources. So if there's any source that you need, if there's any questions that you have, if there's any comments that you want to make, please do so. Let's keep the conversation going, and let's turn the conversation into action. Let's start processing these conversations and doing something with them. Okay? I love you all. Again, thanks for Dr. Nora Fahlberg for being my guest today. If you missed her, please go back and watch the episode. You'll find it on right here. You'll find it. You can look at it later. You can look at it on the page, which is the Food for Action page, which is let me see, OBI, all lowercase letters, OBIE_SBTSBC. You can look it up on YouTube under capital SBTSBC hyphen OB Morant. And other than that, you can find links everywhere. I'm on Twitter and all that stuff under the same thing, OBIE _SBC. So I say the same thing, and you'll find it. But please look for Dr. Nora Fahlberg. Everybody, men, women, boys, girls. If you're in trouble, if you need help, if you need to figure out how to arm yourself, there's plenty of people out here to do that. She is one of them. Please talk to her as well. See what she has to say, and hopefully, and I believe it will help you. It'll do some good. Until Wednesday, I love you guys. Love your neighbors, man. Love, like true. That's what a good Christian is going to do. There's no segregation in heaven, just so you know. All right. Thank you, guys. God bless. I'll see you Wednesday. Same black time, same black channel.